Welcome back students, myself Vishal Pandey, and today we will be continuing the topic the nationalism in India, and basically we are going to discuss today about Rowlatt Act, and it will be considered as non-cooperation, the beginning of non-cooperation, or you can say the background of non-cooperation movement. So what do you understand by Rowlatt Act? Since you know this very well, when Pitt's India Act, Regulating Act as far as the Chartered Act of 1813 and 33 came in India, at that particular time the regulations, the principles were changed into acts. So that is why the reason was that the Rowlatt Act was named as. Rowlatt Act was a black law, I can say, I must say this, because it was altogether based upon not giving the permission, not giving the chance to the Indian citizens, those who are found guilty and they cannot perform their trial, they cannot defend themselves in the courtrooms as well. So this was a black law. Let us understand the key features of this law. First of all, the act authorized the British officers to imprison any Indian political leader for 2 years, as I have already discussed this in my previous video. You can go and you can have a look from the previous lecture. Let us move in the forward and have a look of the next slide. As you can see, the Rowlatt Act to crush the movement, it was began to crush the movement. British government imposed martial law. Now what is martial law? Martial law means like a type of curfew which can be introduced to a particular place or area. However, you cannot move out into the cities, markets, and you cannot do farming as well. Martial law is to catch the peoples and throw them straight away into the jails. On the day of 13th April 1919, this day is very prominent, 13th April 1919, Baisakhi was there on this date, and Baisakhi fair means what? Where people get together, it's a type of mela, was organized in Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. Amritsar is a place in Punjab, and there is a Bagh which is also known as Jallianwala Bagh, and at that particular place number of people, huge number of people gathered, and the date was 13th April and the year was 1919. So keep this in your mind, don't forget it. It will help you to understand the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And the next point, which is very horrific, is General Dyer. He was general of Amritsar at that particular time. He ordered to close all exit gates. Now Jallianwala Bagh is a park. If you go Amritsar, you will see that nowadays it has been improvised, and it has been improvised well, but at that particular time it was like an ancient Bagh itself, and the walls were very, the walls were very high, and you can imagine 15 to 20 meters of walls were there. So, and somehow it was an orthodoxy to just go there and discuss with the people, like Saifuddin Kichlu was there, Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu, who was the leader, who was just giving the messages to the people, and people were surrounded by him. And it was a day of Baisakhi, so people were all enjoying, and they went there to discuss about Rowlatt Act as well. But General Dyer was not happy at all with this meeting, because Britishers were not allowing Indian people, they were not allowing Indian people to just get together and do this type of meeting. As far as Rowlatt Act is concerned, I have already told you that the government imposed martial law, and it is not according to their convenience that they can allow such a people to sit together and have a discussion against British government. Today you can sit together, today you can form a government, today you can form your business, you can initiate with your job, anything you can do, because you have your freedom, your rights according to Indian Constitution, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, fundamental rights you have. But at that particular time people were not allowed to sit together in a fair or in a bagh, in a garden, and have a discussion about the circumstances which are going in the country. So General Dyer opened fire on the crowd. So he ordered his soldiers to do fire on the people. Hundreds of Indians died. Now here it is written hundreds, but let me be very familiar with you, and according to British government and their statistics, it was altogether hundreds of people, like 300s of people. But according to Indian news and Indian magazines at that particular time, it was near about thousands of people who died in that particular massacre. So it was a horrific, hazardous, and a very, it was like a dangerous thing which Indian people had not seen before in terms of British government. The cruelty that they showed on the people of Amritsar, it was not, it cannot be forgiven anyhow. So Indians started to attack the government buildings. After this incidents, Indian people started attacking the government buildings. Now they started to, revolt against Britishers, because that massacre shook their soul from inside, and they were on about to have a revolution against Britishers, especially from the people of Punjab. This violence forced to stop the movement. Now people were becoming violent day by day. They were putting the government buildings to the fire. And remember one thing, let me tell you about this one interesting story. When this incident takes place in Jallianwala Bagh, Shaheed-e-Azam Bhagat Singh was a juvenile at that time. He was in his adolescence, like near about 10 to 12 years boy, and he was there in that particular Bagh where all this massacre takes place, but he survived. So this is also an interesting story about him. Let us move ahead. This is the Jallianwala Bagh where the incidents takes place, and how hazardous this is, you can imagine by seeing this portrait. Next is the non-cooperation movement. From after this Rowlatt Act had happened, after the Jallianwala Bagh takes place, a huge change came into the society, and the pioneer was Mahatma Gandhi. He got that opportunity, and he found that the people are very much prepared for a huge movement, because they have that anger in terms of defeating Britishers. They have that courage through which they can pull out the branches of British government and throw it straight away towards the England. So Gandhiji wrote a book, Hind Swaraj, many years before, and in that book, in which he wrote that if Indians started to non-cooperate with Britishers, then India will be independent in 1 year. What according to Gandhiji's views were? Gandhiji's views were to that if we will not support Britishers, if we will non-cooperate with them, then they will leave this country. Why? What is the reason behind it? Because according to Gandhiji, when Britishers came to India, we have always cooperated with them. We gave them permission to trade, we gave them permission to develop their own industries, so on and so forth. So according to Gandhiji, he was always clear in this discussion and this decision that if we non-cooperate with them, if we will not support to them, they will leave the country. And in what context Gandhiji is saying this? This is very important. In what context? Suppose we are buying their goods. For example, we are buying their clothes, their shoe, boot and all, and they are coming straight away from Manchester. If we don't buy their goods, that is the real meaning of non-cooperation. If we don't join their civil services, if we don't join their hospitals, government hospitals, if we don't join their colleges as a teacher, government teacher, then what we can do, we can initiate with the non-cooperation. And Gandhiji wants non-cooperation. So what happened after Gandhiji had said this, that people those who are Indian citizen and those who want India to be free, you have to do one thing, and that is non-cooperation. And for that sake, people have taken that much seriously that they started leaving the colleges. The government teachers left the colleges, doctors left the hospitals, lawyers left the court, and altogether the people of those who were working in defense, like civil and police, armies, they all left the particular branches and they started revolting against British government. To bring Hindus and Muslims together, there was one more phenomena which was very much important in the eyes of Mahatma Gandhi, because he was very much aware that in 1905 a new party was born in India, and that was Indian Muslim League, which was born in 1905. And when Gandhiji came in India in 1915, when he started non-cooperation movement, the Indian Hindus and Indian Muslims were divided in nature. So what Gandhiji did was to first they bring Indian Hindus and Muslims together so that they can get all the attention of Muslims as well as Hindus throughout the nation. And for that, what he did, Gandhiji met Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali both, and they requested them to join this non-cooperation movement, because Hindus and Muslims, everything can be discussed later on. This is our own problem, this is our family matter, but we have to make sure that the foreigners who has occupied, who is ruling upon us since 200 or many years before, we have to make sure that they should walk away, they should leave this country, so that we can make a new country, a new constitution, which can be influenced, which can take the responsibility of the poor people and the real Indian people. Let us understand what has done by Gandhiji in terms of Hind Swaraj. This is the real portrait, this is the original portrait of Hind Swaraj, this is the front page of Hind Swaraj. You can look this. This book was written by Gandhiji first of all in Gujarati, and then it was translated in English as well. So if you talk about non-cooperation and Khilafat movement, as I told you, to draw the attention of Muslims towards non-cooperation, Gandhiji also introduced, helped in terms of getting away with the non-cooperation, because Gandhiji was very much, he's a man of principle, and he don't leave the opportunities. When opportunity knocks at the door, Gandhiji tries to accept that opportunities with both hands. So what Gandhiji did, Gandhiji, to make friends, to make in his favor, the Muslims especially, he helped and he supported Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement was associated with Khalifa of Turkey, to whom Indian Muslims were following. So गांधी जी ने क्या किया, गांधी जी ने अल्टीमेटली दुखती नस पर एक अपना ज़ोरदार प्रहार किया, और गांधी जी ने ऐसा करके इंडियन मुस्लिम्स का अटेंशन, अट्रैक्शन अपनी तरफ लिया और उनको अपने फेवर में किया, और गांधी जी को फुल सपोर्ट मिलना स्टार्ट हुआ नॉन कॉपरेशन के लिए. चलिए आगे समझते हैं व्हाट हैड हैपेंड देन. द मूवमेंट इन टाउन्स, लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड दैट व्हाट हैपेंड to the movements in towns, because when non-cooperation was launched, remember this, we have rural areas as well in this country and urban areas as well in this country. So now we will look individually that what was the impact of this movement in urban areas as well as in rural areas. So first of all, in urban areas, in towns, we will see thousands of students left government school, as I told you. Headmasters and teachers resigned. Why? Because Gandhiji was telling them to do so. So they obeyed Gandhiji's statement. Lawyers gave their legal practices. The lawyers, those who were practiced from many years before, they gave their job and they gave their practices because on the call of Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi. So foreign goods were boycotted. Foreign goods की होली जला दी गई, and foreign clothes were burnt in huge, and that is bonfire. So ultimately ये जान लेना बहुत ही ज़रूरी है कि इन सारे पॉइंट्स को हम बहुत ही अच्छे से समझ सकते हैं, एंड दैट कैन बी श्योर टू बी very much aware. You have to be next. Let's have a discussion on next slide. That slowdown of the movements in towns. What were the reasons to slow down? That because of those reasons, why the movements became slow in towns. First, khadi was expensive. Gandhiji used to tell everyone to wear khadi, and khadi was expensive at that period of time. Nowadays also khadi is very expensive. People don't used to buy at all. So lack of Indian institutions and Indian awareness were not there. So basically, so as you can see children, this is the next slide, rebellion in countryside. We had discussed that what was the impact of this non-cooperation movement in towns. Now we will be discussing rebellion in countryside. Countryside means the village areas. So in the next video I will be discussing you that how the rebellions helped Mahatma Gandhi and how it was impactful, how it helped the villagers to overcome the problems of non-cooperation movement. Okay, thank you so much.